Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode number 134. Today is May 28th. My name is Craig Perales, and joining me, Andrew Montemayor.
May 28th is pretty doom and gloom. It's pretty ugly outside right now for being summer.
Well, and it's still getting windy out of nowhere. Like, there's days that I've been walking outside that are just like hot, perfect river day, perfect pool day, and then days like this morning when I'm walking out and there's like a heavy breeze in the end of May.
It was last Saturday. Last Saturday I went and spent like 5 hours down at the river. It was really nice, but then the next day is just like windy again. So I'm like, all right, well.
Yeah, it's really hard to book these plans. 'Cause a lot of people I know are starting to book like their pool parties and all this stuff. It's like, it's kind of hard to tell what day is going to be like a windy piece of shit day.
It's just nice because now I have an excuse to cancel on everybody and everything.
So welcome, guys, to the show. If you're watching the YouTube version of the show, make sure you guys hit like, make sure you leave a comment, make sure you hit subscribe, share it if you can, and ring that notification bell. If you guys are interested in following us on any of our social media, our Linktree link is in the description where you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you guys are listening to the audio only version of the podcast, check us out on all podcast platforms. But Anchor is the home, and from there you guys can leave comments. You can actually donate to the show and help us get some cash so we can get some new equipment, new gear.
Speaking of equipment and gear, I meant to bring this up last week, but it's always like, it's been ongoing a lot lately. As you can see, Craig's wearing one of our lovely shirts. I actually just bought some new merch and stuff like that too. So
did you get the baseball tee?
I did get another baseball tee. I had to buy another sweater. I bought some magnets. I bought my mom a sweater for Mother's Day.
Oh, look at you.
But if any of you guys are interested, it seems like right now, like every week or every other week, they're doing a 35% off sale. And they've been doing it like the past like 3 weeks, or it'll be down for a day, and then it'll come back up for like a few days. So if you miss it, just add some stuff to your cart and just keep checking. Or I think if you subscribe to them on their email list, they'll email you when there's that sale. So feel free. I mean, you don't have to buy anything full price. Feel free to get whatever you want on sale if you want anything. But just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, and that's tpublic.com. And that link, if you're watching the YouTube, is in the description as well. So if you guys are interested in any shirts, feel free to please pick a couple out. So before we get into our main topics, we like to do, what are you up to? When Andrew and I take a second to talk about what we've been playing, what we've been watching, what we've been up to. So Andrew, it's been a week since I've seen you. What have you been up to?
I actually watched something. I know I haven't been watching too much stuff lately, but I don't know, maybe I just got the itch. I watched Resident Evil Vendetta. Now, that was one of the Resident Evil CG movies. I always kind of like those. I think they're pretty cool because, again, you can do whatever you really want to with like CG. So there's usually a lot of action. This one actually had like a lot of gore in it. Like at one point, like someone gets like shot and their whole arm comes off, and it's all detailed and bloody and everything like that. I was like, oh fuck, I don't think I've ever seen that in like a CG movie. So I was like, that's pretty cool that they went like all out with it. I actually really enjoyed it. If you want to watch it, I had never downloaded that before. I just got the bug to watch it. I don't know why. Maybe because I was watching like a Resident Evil video on YouTube, and I found that it was free on Tubi. You can download the Tubi app, and there's commercials during it. But it was like an hour and a half, and I really enjoyed it. This one centers around Chris Redfield, Rebecca Chambers, again, one of the best characters that doesn't get used enough, and then Leon Kennedy. So if you want to, go check that out. It was about like an hour and a half. I actually really enjoyed it.
I watched you were telling me about that, and so I watched the trailer, and I'm like, damn, this looks like Resident Evil. So I was like, because you were like, hey, you should check it out, and because it's a little older, it's like 5 or something years
2017,
old.
yeah.
So when I watched the trailer, I was like, damn, I want to see this now. So
yeah, I'd never had a chance to watch it, and it was just one of those things I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all about it, and now's the perfect time.
Excellent.
I went ahead and finished Tunic, which was made by, I think it's called pronounced Finji Studios. I 100%ed it. I actually really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the combat, the world, the music. I'm just, at the end, I just felt like there was too much like extra shit to do, even just 100% it. There was just like tedious at some point.
Stuff?
Yeah, and even still, I like what I'm doing, but I feel like I kind of don't understand the story. I understand it to an extent, but I feel like I hate playing a game and then I have to go like Wikipedia or something like that. Because even
what the fuck did I just play?
I understood a lot more when I played Elden Ring than I did when I'm playing this. Whoa. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's like a 10 out of 10 or nothing like that, but I would definitely recommend it. Like, it was a lot of fun. It was really good, and a lot of those puzzles are actually really hard. And then I pulled the trigger on something we talked about, and you tried. Oh, sorry about that. I hit the table. I bought Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age because it got taken off the Game Pass, and I was finally ready to play it. It's like $40-something, and I was like, "Fuck that! I could probably find it cheaper." Found it on eBay disc list for $10.
Oh,
and it was supposed to get here next week, but it actually got here yesterday. So I was like, "Dude, I'm so excited because that's what I'm doing for my nice 3-day weekend. Is I'm just gonna like binge play FF12. I'm not gonna 100% it. I just want to go through and play it because I remember it being really good when I was younger. I've always really liked it, and I still like a lot of the characters off of it that I can't wait to run through.
I was pretty sure I still have like the hard like box set from the PS2 version. So yeah, I remember playing that in 2006, I think, or somewhere when it came out. So excellent, man. Anything else?
No, you?
So as far as what I've been up to, guys, I was just in Vegas recently and was able to go to a movie theater, and I just saw Top Gun Maverick. Now, this movie, I was telling Andrew and I was telling some other people that were asking me about it, if you're a fan of the original movie, then you're going to love this movie. This is a perfect extension. I've talked to other people that are fans of the original one who say they've liked this one better than the first one. If you're not a fan of the first one, or maybe like, you know, planes and stuff like that, or Tom Cruise isn't your cup of tea, it's still a good movie at the end of the day. It takes place 30 years after the original one, and
it looks the same.
Dude, Tom Cruise looks ridiculous, man. Like, everyone knows that the famous volleyball scene in Top Gun, where these dudes are just super shredded. They do a similar scene like that on the beach where they play like a football game, and he's still out there with, you know, these 20 to 30 year olds just still looking
with a better looking body.
Yeah, fantastic. And the cool thing about this, because in the theater I was watching, he comes on in the beginning and he says, hey guys, you know, hope you guys like this film. We made it for you guys. You know, it took us a lot of time because these are real planes. This isn't CGI. So knowing that when I was watching, I'm like, damn, dude.
Knowing that now from some of the trailers I've seen, I'm like, oh shit.
Dude, it's epic. I'm watching this thing and I'm watching going, dude, if this is all real, at least, you know, to the maximum potential that it could be, and it's not, because it's very easily to CGI these days. Our eye to CGI is very, when it comes to aircrafts and stuff, we can watch Star Wars and that stuff looks legit. These are all like real practical effects, and on that note alone, I was like, dude, this movie's amazing. I don't know if I'm going to put it in my top 10 for the year, but it's definitely like a summer movie that was a lot of fun. A nice popcorn film, nice action-packed movie. It continues on with, if you guys are familiar with how the ending of number 1 is with Goose, his son is Rooster, who's played by Miles Teller, who's fucking awesome. Looks just like Goose from the original one. John Hamm's in it. Jennifer Connelly's in it, who's still looking amazing. One of the sadder notes was Val Kilmer, who's Iceman in the original one, does make an appearance in this one, but in real life, Val Kilmer is affected by that disease that's kind of messing him up, so, you know, he can barely talk in this movie. And so it was kind of sad, but very nostalgic. So if you guys have any interest in watching it, I'll tell you that it's worth going to see. And this guy named Glenn Powell, who's in a couple things, nothing I've really seen, who plays Hangman in the movie, was one of my favorite characters. So let me know how you guys feel about all the new characters like Phoenix and Payback and Warlock and Bob. So that's what I just watched. As far as what I've been playing, I've been wanting to jump back on the PS5 more, and I'm looking for kind of shorter games versus 30 to 40 hour games. So I started playing Detroit Become Human. It's developed by Quantic Dream and developed by or published by Sony, and they're the guys that have made like Heavy Rain, if you're familiar with games like that, and are also making the new Star Wars Eclipse game. So it's actually for $20. You can get it on the PlayStation Store, but it's a free game if you have PlayStation Plus, and it's a very heavy narrative driven experience. It's set in the future of like 2038, and it really revolves around these the plot follows these 3 androids named Kara, who her story, she escapes her owner to explore her newfound sentience and protect this young girl. Connor, who's probably been my favorite character so far, whose job is to hunt down sentient androids who have kind of gone AWOL because your programming is you can't hurt or any human, so he kind of like hunts and interacts with these guys. And then Marcus, who devotes himself to releasing other androids from servitude. And it's one of those games that like literally have different scenarios and choices that you can do while you play it. So I'm only a few hours in. The game's only about 10 hours long. I'm probably 3, so I expect it to really ramp up. Has that ever been on your radar?
I remember seeing it, and I always thought it looked really cool. Because he also, I'm trying to think of what else he makes besides Heavy Rain. He made something else too that was like another like narrative-driven experience.
Oh, let me see. I got their games. I should have some of their games here.
What's his name? Something Cage?
Johnny Cage? Nicolas Cage?
Nick Cage, the director. I forget. People give him a lot of shit too because like they say his games are all just these narrative-driven experiences where you're not playing. You don't feel like you're playing as much. So you kind of know what you're getting when you get into his games. But I like that. I like the idea of that. I always have.
Quantic Dream has the Nomad Soul. Fahrenheit was probably the
I'm thinking of the other.
Heavy Rain Beyond Two Souls was the one with the Ellen Page or Elliot
Beyond
Page.
Two Souls was the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, and Green Goblin. Why can't I think of his name?
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Yeah. So that's what I've been playing. And it's fun. It's different. It's definitely a change of pace because when you're playing as the androids, like some of the scenes or scenarios are just walk up, move the right stick to like you got to literally make this guy tea and dinner. So I don't know. It's an interesting game, but definitely it was one of the big ones for the PS4. So I'm glad I'm able to finally play it on the PS5. So and as far as what I'm doing, hopefully we can make this episode as tight as we can because after this. I'm actually heading up to Vegas again to meet up with my brother and Dante because we're going to go see the Limp Bizkit Still Sucks tour in Vegas. Now, I didn't know Limp Bizkit was still doing tours, and 2 weeks ago when they said they were buying the tickets, I thought they were joking, and I literally kind of forgot all about it until like yesterday when they reminded me we were going. But we live in right next to Laughlin. Laughlin does these concerts. The fact that I've gone and seen Kid Rock in Laughlin, I've got to round out the white trash celebrity tour by saying Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst, in Las Vegas.
It's just one of those days.
So if any of you guys are making it to Vegas and are at that concert, let me know. So guys, with that down and out of the way, let's move into our main story, and it revolves around a game that's been in early access since January 21st, 2020. Now, generally, we don't kind of make our main stories about kind of PC-centric and focused games because we're mainly console players. But this game, TemTem, was a big trailer was released back in 2019. It actually was launched 3 days ago. That there's an official release date for September of 2022 to actually come to console. Now, if any of you guys are familiar with it, or if you're watching the YouTube version and you're seeing the trailer, it is a Pokemon clone, a Pokemon inspired game. So let me read this real quick and just kind of tell you what it's about. So TemTem is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game developed by Spanish development studio Crema and published by Humble Bundle. That's a tongue twister. The game was released in early access through Steam on January 21st, 2020, and PlayStation 5 on December 8th, 2020, with the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X versions of the game scheduled to release alongside the full release of the game on September 6th, 2022. The game uses the Unity development engine and is a creature collection video game greatly inspired by Nintendo's Pokemon series. And I gotta say, it's very odd to me that Pokemon, for some reason, has been the only people doing this genre, this kind of run around, collect, and explore. I mean, there's been other games that have kind of done it. I don't know if you ever played Demi Kids on GBA.
No, we've talked about that.
Yeah, it's a game that literally had a dark and light version. So there's been things that have attempted it, but nothing that's ever truly broken through and been a competitor. Because it's odd that in FPS, there's Halo, there's Call of Duty, there's Rainbow Six. RPGs aren't just Final Fantasy. There's a shitload of them. The fact that there's only, like, Pokemon is a genre unto itself, and I like the fact that there's more coming out, and especially kind of now that it's been a couple years and out of early access, it's directing itself at console players, because forever we've been wanting one on Switch, which we've finally gotten, but it still feels kind of dated, where this game looks kind of up to beat. So before we kind of get into what it's offering and what it does, I mean, we talked about this. This came out, we saw it in 2019. You've seen it. What's your overall impressions of it?
I'm actually excited to play something like that because, again, I just like playing on my console. I don't want to have to break out the Switch or go play on the Switch all the time. So to be able to have something on console, I think is nice. I do want to make a quick note here, just to go back. It's David Cage that I was thinking of.
Oh, his name hit you?
Yeah, his name hit me. So David Cage experience. But that was my big thing that I wrote on there is this looks like something that could be that contender is why don't we have anything else like this? Because the two closest things I could think of that came to, I would say, challenging Pokemon, but never really like rivaling them. The obvious one would be Digimon. Yeah. And I think Digimon both did it with games, TV show, and with like the cards and stuff. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! But Yu-Gi-Oh! Is almost like a completely different kind of card experience. I think it's a superior card playing game. And then even the games are a lot different than it. But those are kind of the only things I ever really feel like rivaled Pokemon, but never really it never came close to catching its thunder. And even still, I like the idea of something coming in like, okay, we're going to start as a game. This could start as a game, and if it builds up enough and it gets that good, it could be like what Fortnite is, that it's beyond more than a game now. Now we are rivaling Pokemon. Why not make a TemTem cartoon and maybe I'm not saying a card game or anything else, but it'd be nice to see someone try to rival what Pokemon does to help breed that innovation for them to be like, oh, okay, well, we see what they're doing. We've been kind of doing the same thing. Maybe we're gonna try this now, and get something different, some fresh ideas.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. Get into the other mediums. Get into TV. Get into cards. Get into merchandise. Get into toys. Get into movies. Plushies. Yeah. So if this thing has legs, it could definitely do something. But let me read this real quick from MMORPG.com that kind of talks about it a little bit more, and it says, TemTem, the creature collecting title by Crema and Humble Games, will finally be released out of early access this year, coming on September 6th to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, PC, and Nintendo Switch. The Pokemon-inspired MMO will bring with it new features, areas, and more. TemTem, if you recall, is the colorful creature collecting title inspired by Game Freak's Pokemon series, bringing tamers, which is what they're calling their trainers, to the airborne archipelago to adventure with their chosen TemTems. The MMO will see players able to take part in an overall story campaign either by themselves or with friends, compete against other TemTem tamers to see who is the best, and more. Now, one of the things I kind of wanted to point out that TemTem is starting off with that Pokemon seems to never, excuse the pun, evolve from, because they're kind of stuck in the same formula every game, is that so not only has this thing been going early access since 2020, but the things that it's able to do, and Andrew and I were earlier discussing, is like, it's already an MMO. They're already taking it away from just being a single person's adventure through a world that is generally fun to be around other people. Now,
right.
What was the last, I keep forgetting the last Pokemon, not Arceus, but
before that one?
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on it, but the one right before that, the one on the Switch that was finally on console, was the one where you could finally run into people and you could do raids with people. So they kind of have been
Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield. They touched on it, but it just still kind of seems like antiquated compared to how much this game's already coming out the bat from, and it's the fact that it's instantly an MMO. And the fact that the campaign that they're already telling you is a co-op campaign, if you choose to do so, already means that now I want to buy it and play it with a friend. You can instantly start battling other people, training and chatting. So, I mean, that's one feature when I look at it, I'm like, how has Nintendo not done this yet? How are they instantly able to beat you with that one, even if it is pound for pound the same? The fact that you're just making an MMO versus the same single player narrative drive is like, okay, well, that already trumps it, in my opinion.
Right, I think it's nice to have those features. I was really excited for that, to be able, not that I always want to do co-op, but if I wanted to, that I have the choice to, I could just go hang out, do all kinds of different battles. I think right off the bat, this game was already kind of showing that it's going not in a different direction, but it wants to evolve and be something different. Because like you said, because you played a little bit of it, that off the bat, it's not just fire, water, grass as your starting types. Like with every fucking game, everyone's always like, can we get something different besides these three to start?
I've been preaching that
I haven't had anything since Pokemon Yellow, when I started with Pikachu.
Yeah, so let me point that out too. So when I was researching this, because we saw the trailer in 2019 and it said Steam and PC, so you could play it there. I never thought twice about it since then because we're not big PC players. After researching it, the PS5, which came out in 2020, was able to get early access to it as well, and so I looked it up on the PS5 and was able to actually download it. So if you guys are interested in this game and you have a PS5, you can actually buy it for $43 and change or something like that. And so I did start playing it, and Andrew was, they finally did what we've always wanted to. Instead of fire, grass, and water, it's mind. Did I write them down at all? It was mind, psychic, and crystal. And I'm like, okay, cool. So now not only is it just the basic elements, they're adding new things into it that a Pokemon can be. So with that being said, the other big thing that I really liked is that the battles aren't just 1v1. And in Pokemon, when you have a trainer buddy with you, you can do a 2v2 battles. But every battle you do in this is going to be 2v2, which instantly involves a heavier strategy. So not only are you going, okay, what moves am I going to be able to do against the opposing player, but now I need to do 2 guys at a time, fighting 2 guys at a time. And one of the things they were introducing is what they're calling a stamina system. So instead of just using a move every time because you have the PP point, the P points for it, they do a thing where you need to be in combat for a certain amount of rounds to unlock a move so that he can use one of his heavier attacks. So instantly I'm going, okay, the battles are 2v2. You've got new elements that creatures can be. and you've got a time battle system that you can't just keep pumping Solar Beam every time, that you can't just use Dragon Flare every time. You've got to actually strategize your combat. So I'm like, okay, I'm in.
That's what I like too. It's because that was the last Pokemon that I played. I forgot who I chose my starter, but I'm just like, all right, I think it was Cynical. I'm just like, all right, Flamethrower, Flame Wheel. That's always what I start with. That's just what I'm going all out with. My hope is that they find the one thing that I always feel has been like the biggest detriment to Pokemon, in that leveling things up. I don't want to say is a breeze, but isn't that grindy fucking experience? Because that's always what I have. I will say this: it is multiple XP. So when one guy gets XP, I think the whole team does. So it's like the XP share. That'd be nice, and then hopefully it's not too grindy then. Because that was the one thing I liked about the last Pokemon, like Arceus, is okay. I'm just catching stronger Pokemon. I'm not really building attachments with the other ones, but I'd rather not grind out my Pikachu to level 40. I'd rather just catch the level 40 Pikachu out there.
There you go. Yeah, and I mean, it does have a lot of similarities. There's still a professor that you have to do. There's still your training that you have to do. There's still running in tall grass to get it. But
what's his name? Is it tree based?
Dude, I literally the other night when I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, that makes sense, but I completely space it now. But one of the things that we're kind of pointing out is that after the game, like, there's more to do. Because it's an MMO, they're going to do weekly challenges on this. There's going to be a reason to stay engaged in this game instead of just catching all 150, beating all the gym leaders, and then being done. So the fact that this thing is going to continue to grow, and unlike just making, okay, we made red and blue, now let's make emerald, let's make sapphire, let's make black and white. It's like, no, this game will just keep adding that on as DLC. So you just have to buy the one game versus buying 30 of the same. So I really like the idea of, just because of the way it is an online game experience, is that it will grow and hopefully productively.
I was gonna say, even if they just didn't do that and released a new game like every few years, I wouldn't even be mad at that, already with the steps that they're taking and the things they're implementing. So either way, I'm pretty excited to actually like try it and give it a go. I don't think we have I think the bigger thing too that I was looking at, I was like, okay, this is cool. They're set in stone. I don't think, if I can't remember correctly, there wasn't a release date for the new Pokemon yet, was there?
It's supposed to be like the end of the year. The end of this year.
I know it's towards the end of the year.
Oh, like an actual date. I don't think it's December 2022.
I was going to say, I don't know if they had a date. So if this thing comes out and is way better than what that is, that's going to be embarrassing.
Yeah, that would be. Well, put some egg on their face. It's like, you guys have been so beholden to this old version of just repeating the same game over and over. And again, points for trying. Arceus was a step in a new direction. And when they finally kind of hybrid it together with the new one, we could finally be going, oh, Pokemon is evolving. But this game is like, okay, somebody else can come in and make a game like it that's just as good or better. But with that being said, my only kind of concern is that if this game's been in early access since 2020, why we haven't heard anything about it. So like, is it that good? Because there's games like Grounded that have been in early access for the last 2 years, and I see it all the time when it pops up with a new update on, the forums and the chats that we're in. So I am kind of nervous that no one has been talking about this game until 3 days ago when we learned that it's coming to console in September. But from what I've played, I like.
It could be one of those games like, nobody talked about Among Us, and then like we were talking about the other week when I watched that documentary, and there it just was one day, fucking a juggernaut.
Yeah, and you know what? You wake up and boom, there it is. So, I mean, it does have a lot of customization too. That's one of the things it's trying to support, is that like you can instantly customize your character. You can do
all that.
Yeah, a lot of different inventory things too. So I don't know. On at the end of the day, it looks good. I'm going to continue playing it in the early access. So if something new pops up, we'll continue to talk about it on the show. But are you looking to get it in September? Is it a day oneer for you, or?
I think so. I think I will at least. I don't want to read a review. I'll make sure the score is not like a 2.
Right.
And then I'll purchase it. But if it's anything above like a 6, then I'm in.
Yeah, and the fact that if the price doesn't change at all, if it's $40, I mean, what a nice way to enter yourself in instead of being a next-gen $70 game.
Right.
So that's the end. Is there anything else you want to add on TemTem?
No.
So if you guys have been playing it, whether it's on PC or PS5, let us know your thoughts. If you guys are looking forward to it. Yeah, I want to know what you guys are, what your guys' thoughts about it, because again, I haven't heard much about it in 2019 till now. So with that done, guys, let's move into ripping it up. So I will go first. No, you're gonna go first because you have 2, right?
I'll go first, and
Okay.
I'll do one if we have time for two. Then we'll
Okay.
do two, because I know you got to get going. And mine is a game that I'm actually really looking forward to: the Callisto Protocol, that's being made by Striking Distance Studios and Skybound Entertainment. Now, for those of you who don't know, this game is supposed to be the spiritual successor to Dead Space. And I know Dead Space is coming back, but it's not visceral. Hopefully it's good. There's room for both, especially since the Callisto Protocol has been talked about longer than the Dead Space remake, reboot, whatever it is that they're actually going to do with it. So, one, I've been really excited for this game, but the thing that I didn't get and that they were talking about is that the game was supposed to be set in the PUBG universe. Now, I don't ever really know what that meant, because PUBG, one, isn't really that big anymore. People still play it, but Fortnite and Warzone and Apex have knocked that thing, out of even ever being talked about most of the time. But two, it was a battle royale that was a third-person camera, so I don't know what that really had to do with this high-end, space-looking game that when you look at the screenshots or the pictures, if that's supposed to be the graphics and how the game look leagues better than what PUBG did. If anything, that always made me feel like, I don't really get it, because PUBG always kind of ran like shit. So, either way, I'm glad that they're kind of not trying to shoehorn anything into this, especially when I don't know why they would in the first place.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about it too, because if it's part of the PUBG world, and PUBG is the battle royale, and everyone in that world is just a human, right? There's no monsters that you have to kill in it.
No, it's like a human thing in like a modern day too. There's no crazy technology in PUBG.
Yeah, so now you're introducing a new kind of species, and like, were they planning on adding that to PUBG eventually? Which, I mean, I guess could be cool if you're trying to spice things up. But yeah, it sounds like they started doing a game. They're like, oh, it could be cool if we put it in PUBG, and then it kind of just developed into its own world, and they're like, okay, let's just take it out. So it's like, well, then what were the roots ever? You know what I mean? Like, were you just trying to go, oh, let's put A and B? So I don't know. I was always kind of confused about that.
I wonder if they just did it as like, okay, let's get people hyped for this. Like PUBG's name. Let's put PUBG's name on there.
Yeah, let's bring it back to the forefront. Anything else on that?
Nah, you?
So, guys, what I wanted to point out is that the Star Wars Jedi Survivor trailer was just dropped, and this comes off the heels of the new Obi-Wan show that just dropped on Disney Plus. So if you guys have been waiting for that, you can check that out. I haven't seen Obi-Wan yet, even though I hear
I didn't even know it came out.
But this trailer is the sequel from the 2019 game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which was developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by EA. And for about a minute and a half trailer, I gotta say, I'm pretty pumped about it. So let me just read real quick what IGN had to say about it. And it says, curiously, Cal, who spent the previous game gaining a family of allies, is all alone. And his lightsaber, which he spent so much time rebuilding, appears to fall in the hands of the Empire. Essentially, Cal is in a bad place at the start of Jedi Survivor. Respawn's next Star Wars action RPG will be released on next-gen platforms, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. EA doesn't make mention of past-gen consoles, but with developers moving towards new-gen systems, there's a good chance Star Wars Jedi Survivor is too. So I like the fact that they are moving on with next-gen. That is going to be the trend moving forward. But I'm also impressed that not only are they pumping out a new Star Wars game fairly quickly, 2019, that it's coming up by 2023, shows that they're going to keep supporting it and not abandon Star Wars games like EA has been notoriously known to do, but also that they're keeping their main protagonist, Cal, in this as the front runner. And I do like that it's not just this last game ended. It's not like Horizon, where right when this one ended, it's picking right back up. 5 years have gone by. Time's going by where he's lived a shitty life on the run, being hunted from Inquisitors, and I'm assuming probably Darth Vader still. And I don't know, when you see the trailer, it's not a lot and it's not gameplay, but as far as cinematics go, I like what we're seeing. We're seeing these new characters who right now we're kind of speculating at who they can still be. So you saw the trailer. What are your initial thoughts?
I feel like that's part of the problem is I've never seen a bad Star Wars trailer and then I end up playing a bad game or watching a fucking bad movie. But no, I'm hyped for it. And I'm of the same mind. I'm glad they kept Cal, because I think even Cameron Monaghan said he was kind of like done acting for a while and didn't kind of really want to do too much. I was like, fuck, that kind of sucks, because even though I know some people said he was bland, I enjoyed that journey, especially because that was the first really good Star Wars game we've had since like Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed, which came out in on the Wii back in the day. So I wanted to read this too. This comes from Pro Game Guides, and it kind of just points in, because we were kind of speculating of who the guy in the office is, right? And because obviously this is all canon now, but it's like, where are these guys in Star Wars movies? Where are these guys in Star Wars show? Why are we learning about these cool fucking dudes that are only in games?
And Clone Wars.
And the shows that are, gate locked behind Disney Plus, if you even want to know more of the background. So I don't know if the Palpatine is a title or his name, but it says the Palpatine in the trailer is clearly a senator because his room looks exactly like Palpatine's in the Star Wars prequels. Do you know this
Maybe
title?
that's his race.
Oh, okay, yeah, it could be. I like Star Wars. I'm not in love with Star Wars. You know what I mean? I don't know every race and all the lore, but it says we can assume that Palpatine's jobs is to hunt Cal down and kill him, which leads Cal to look for an unnamed person in the Bacta tank. We believe the storyline of the game will not lead to the formation of the Jedi Order, but instead continue Cal's journey as he learns to become a master Jedi. So, just that paragraph alone, I'm like, dude, I love it. I mean, I see a lot of people talking in like forums and chats going, I've never played the first one, no interest. This trailer makes me want to go play the first one just so I'm ready for number 2. Yeah. So I'm super stoked.
Just leave Luke out of it and add fast travel. Is my only advice.
Nice. Anything else you want to add on the new Star Wars trailer?
No, I'm hyped for it.
Because we'll talk more about it. But obviously, they'll drop a big gameplay trailer, and we'll
next
dive
week.
more into that. I'm hoping. I was actually hoping that the Xbox showcase shows that. So if you guys are interested in the trailer, let us know your thoughts about it. So with riffs out of the way, guys, let's move into our question of the week. If I can get this loaded up. Don't freeze on me. It says, there we go. So this comes from Sarah Telmack, and she writes, just saw the She-Hulk trailer. I'm really interested in this. I didn't even know there was a She-Hulk. Curious on why a show and not a movie. Great podcast. Thanks. Thank you. I'll let you start it off. What did you make? Because I know we were kind of a little different on the trailer. What did you think in a positive light?
I liked the She-Hulk trailer, and I think the reason that they're bringing her in as a show instead of a movie, obviously it seems like they're kind of trying to do something a little different with it and make it more like what the Hulk was in Endgame for a lot of it, where he's like that jokey living his everyday life, and people are used to like this hero now being different than everybody else. Because again, she's an attorney at law, like Harvey Birdman. But She-Hulk is a big character, but I don't think she's ever been that big. I wouldn't put her above Daredevil. If you asked me to name off a bunch of people, I would name Daredevil and probably Shang-Chi before I thought of like, oh yeah, and She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So, and again, Daredevil got brought up in a TV show. Even Punisher, who was far bigger than both of those people, had his TV show and hasn't had a movie yet. So, if anything, too, that's also a way to
Punisher
get
hasn't had a movie?
A modern movie in that universe.
Okay.
But I think it's a way for them to maybe gauge interest because, man, if she really does do good and jump off the charts, then sure, we'll do a She-Hulk movie.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Because when you do the shows, you get more time to experiment with a character and develop the character. And if she's popular, like Andrew's suggesting, then yeah, she could have popped up in an Avengers. This could be her jump off, her platform to do that. But the show, to me, I mean, the trailer looks okay. People were like losing their minds, and it looks like the best thing. It got more views than Loki did, so they're saying it's got big potential. I think the CGI is what's holding it back. That CGI, that green look for her, to me looks like trash, and it's different because like when you do the Hulk or look at Abomination, they're not people that are green. They're figures that are above average size. And when you look at her, they're just kind of like painting her green. And I'm sure when it comes out, they're going to clean that up. I'm sure that was probably the biggest gripe about it. But, I mean, I like it. She's playing Jennifer Walters. One of the things I wasn't sure what the show was going to revolve around because it is attorney at law. It's not go kick this person's ass. It's like, so it has to revolve around a courtroom in a sense. But I'm looking at the IMDb, so I don't consider this a spoiler, but the Abomination, Tim Roth's Abomination and Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner are in all 9 episodes. So I thought he was going to be like a cameo and kind of like, help her figure it out. But the fact that these are going to be a main premise in the show makes me even more excited for something that I wasn't really excited about, because Abomination was something that was criminally underused after we saw how funny he was in that one movie, his boxing scene in Shang-Chi, his fight scene, and Mark Ruffalo's smart Hulk, or Professor Hulk, to me is great. So the fact that and Benedict Wong is coming back, so the fact that I'm seeing that maybe going to be the more focus of the show, I'm actually have way more interest in it. So I don't know, that spark your interest any more or any less?
I just want to see the attorney stuff because I don't mind that.
Who do you think she's like? What is she gonna do? Is she gonna go like rub? Because this trailer's showing her like go on Tinder dates with people and like experiment with her strength. It's like I want to see who you're representing. Like, what's the law part about? And all I saw was like her like going on Tinder dates and like having drinks in the bar. I'm like, okay, well, is that what the show's gonna be about?
That was more my interesting point too. Is like I want to see like because they say in the trailer we're building I think like a superhuman attorney team or something like that, which. I don't know if that meant they're building it out of superhumans or it's to defend like the Avengers when shit goes wrong and people try to sue them or whatever. So I find that to be very interesting.
I'm curious if because I don't see it on the casting. I wonder if Charlie Cox's Daredevil would make an appearance at all in this. Because if that happened, I'd love that.
That'd be pretty cool.
So thank you for the question. If you guys want to leave questions, feel free to leave them in the YouTube comments down below, or you can send them to our email at lastcallproductions@gmail.com, or you can @ me at Craig Perales on any of the social media. So is there anything else you want to add for this pretty tidy episode?
No, I got nothing else.
Nice. So guys, that is the end of episode 134. Join us next time on episode 135. And my name is Craig Perales. This is Mandrew Motzmayer. And until next time, guys, cheers.
See ya.
What are you talking about, dirty dinos?
So when you were talking about like, well, how can they retcon? Well, even though it's not a retcon, how can they retcon Obi-Wan and this and that? It sounds kind of like lame. Like we couldn't come up with any good ideas. I had the same idea about like the next Jurassic Park. I'm like, all right, dinosaurs are loose in the world. I don't really get the idea because I always like it's kind of a closed event. Like I don't know. I don't really get where this is going, and I don't know if I really care for it. But watching the new Jurassic, what do they call it, Fallen Kingdom or whatever, the new trailer, that really looks bad. I'm so excited.
They showed the new trailer in Top Gun, and I was watching. I was like, dude. This thing looks sick. And I was literally thinking about you. I'm like, well, I would love... I don't know if you have to watch Jurassic Park like 3 or Lost World, but I would love to do like a 1, 2, and then the Chris Pratt ones. Is that the main one you got to watch? Like, what would be the order to watch Jurassic Park if you're trying to get to Fallen Kingdom?
You just watch them in order, 1, 2, 3.
But I thought 3 was like a you don't really need to...
3, the only reason you'd watch
Is that the Vince Vaughn one?
No, that's 2.
2 is the Vince Vaughn one?
Yeah, with Jeff Goldblum.
I thought it was 3. Okay.
No, 3 is the one that tells you that there's a second island, that there wasn't just one island the whole time, that there's 2 islands that they've had the whole time. But well, I think they do that in 2 anyways. But 2 it just has more just Sam Neill, and I think Sam Neill is great, so that's why I like 3.
So you'd have to watch 1, 2, 3, Lost World, and then Pratt's.
You could technically watch 1 and then watch Pratt's and know that there's been incidents beforehand. They never really talk about them or explain them.
Set it up. Get a day and let's get some fucking some Jurassic Park shirts, and then I'd love to watch them and gear up and ramp up because that new trailer was fucking dope.